protecting the economy. It safeguards your research, including protecting the intellectual property rights of those who are supporting your research or may be supporting your research. It's important to understand that the failure to declare the biological material can result in unnecessary delays, penalties, possible loss of trusted traveler status, criminal prosecution, and probably most importantly here for you is it certainly can create an extreme disruption to your research. The criminal prosecution and some of the other examples that I raised are on the extreme end, but you certainly don't want your research to be disrupted because of a regulatory issue. Recent trends indicate an increase in the interception of undeclared biological materials, and many of those biologicals require permits, and several did not meet packaging and labeling requirements. We've intercepted 7 biological shipments in FY 2021, up from 5 in 2020. Biological materials that we've encountered include live nematodes, blood samples, microbial DNA, and non-human primate material, just to name a few. The Houston field office is now one of 4 locations within CBP that has a biological threat exclusion coordinator, who serves as a subject matter expert on all aspects of importing and exporting biologicals. The BTEC is available to assist importers in comprehending and complying with the regulatory requirements related to biologicals. And then George Amerson is our BTEC here in the Houston field office. He'll be speaking to you later on in the workshop, and will provide his contact information and more about his role. In 2020, the Houston field office also began working with the academic and research community to offer information related to the import and export of biological material, and has conducted various outreach sessions with interested organizations. So I encourage you to work with my staff if you're interested in doing one of those outreach sessions. We can do it in person, and certainly like we're doing today, can do it virtually. Today's workshop brings together multiple federal and state entities to provide information and resource to provide you a better understanding and the proper procedures in importing and exporting biological materials. Lastly, I'd like to thank Texas A&M for co-hosting this event. We would not have been able to pull this off without them. Their network that they have is very broad, and it shows from the wide range of participants that we have. I'd like to specifically thank Jenny Ligon. She has been a tremendous help in coordinating this event, which I know is going to be a success. And then again, thank you. Enjoy the workshop. And with that, I'll turn it over to A&M's Dr. Pompelli. Gigam.
Judson, thank you. I appreciate the gigam, and also the kind words for Jenny, because she is a tremendous asset for us. I obviously the quality of the work that you guys attribute to Texas A&M most often goes back to individual efforts, and Jenny's are one of those that stand out. I'm Greg Pompelli. I'm the director of the Center of Excellence at Texas A&M and AgriLife, and the center is about three and a half years old at this point. We are the Cross-Border Threat Screening and Supply Chain Defense Center, and this area is of tremendous interest to us, not just because we have a strong ag interest, but also from the human interest in terms of health and the safety of well-being of both population in the United States, but also the economy. And as Judson pointed out, don't need to look any further back than just what we've gone through in this recent experience in terms of seeing how dangerous and how disruptive biological events can be. So as we go through today, and I really do want to thank all the participants, all the folks that are on the call today, but also the speakers, because this is a really complicated and complex set of issues that we're dealing with. And I think that the opportunity for us today to have so many experts, in a sense, in the room, and if you can't pick it all up, the idea is that you now know who you can perhaps get a hold of to get questions or get questions answered, is really going to be important, because there are multiple agencies, multiple departments across the U.S. government that are responsible for certain parts of the regulatory processes. And I think the more we can know and the more we can share in terms of doing things well, when things start well, they typically end well. And I think that's one of the things that we want to see coming through with this workshop, And we're really excited to be part of it and to be in collaboration with CBP, the Houston field office in particular, because this is exactly where we want to be in this area of operation. Anything we can do to help is where we want to make sure that we can contribute. So just kind of really quickly going through, you're going to be hearing from folks from DHS, CBP, also USDA, CDC is going to be speaking. So you've got a pretty wide range. Now, one of the things I'll warn you about, and those of you that have looked at the agenda, you're only going to get about 15 minutes to run for lunch. So whatever you have to do, try to stay on track with us because it's going to be moving pretty quickly. And the organizers didn't give you a lot of time to get out there and try to certainly work on whatever the lunch might be. So hopefully you're at home or close to home or have something that allows you to get out in about 15 minutes to get back to us. But the sessions that you're going to be going through are going to be really pretty quick. And I think that there's good and bad to that because there's a lot more depth that you can get into, but that exposure that you're going to have today, I think is going to be the kind of thing that if you're a veteran in terms of either importing or exporting biological materials, there could always something you can learn. And at the same time, if it's brand new to you, then I think one of the things that you're going to find is that these sessions are going to be a great introduction. And so I think that's one of the values of, in a way, going through it as quickly as we do. You're going to find yourself in a position that there's something you don't know, you've got a resource, and if it's something you already knew, it's a reinforcement that you're on the right track. So when you look at this and you think about how it's organized today and tomorrow, think about and recognize that it is a pretty large patchwork of regulatory officials and offices that are responsible for the protection of the U.S. economy, the population, our agriculture, food and ag, but understand that they're here to help as much as anything else. And I think that's something that's going to come through loud and clear. And you're going to find that you've got really strong subject matter experts that are going to be speaking today. And they also have resources that they can help to refer you to if some of your questions can't be answered. So as we go through today, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to learn more about this area, but I'm excited also to just recognize that we've had the opportunity to participate and collaborate. And so if there's anything that we can do as a center, feel free to reach out to me. The center is on, it's a pretty simple, it's a long name, but it's a short acronym, CBTS at TAMU. So you can find us pretty easily. And certainly if there's something that's missing or something you'd like to see us doing in the future, let us know because we're here to work together and to actually make things better. And that's one of the things that we'll find ourselves happy to do whenever we see that there's a need. And if you let us know that there is one, we'll start to fill it. So with that, I know that we are on a pretty tight agenda. I don't want to take up too much more time, but as Judson pointed out, there's a lot at stake when people are bringing biological materials into the United States or exporting. I think that this is well warranted to take on. And I again appreciate all the folks that are coming here to speak today, as well as those of you that are taking the time to join us as participants. With that, Mary, I'll pass over the baton to you and let you get started with our sessions.
Thank you, Dr. Pompelli.
My pleasure.
So real quick, let's touch on some housekeeping points. I want everyone to be aware that the session will be recorded. Please keep your audios on mute when you're not speaking. Please turn your videos off to save bandwidth when you're not speaking. If you have any questions, we ask that you input them into the chat box so that we can get them answered for you.